Good evening, welcome to Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, it says it right down there at the bottom of the screen. I hope you've all been well since the last week I've seen you. I've had quite a productive week, which has been quite unusual when you compare to previous weeks. For I've actually got quite a bit done coming off of the back of last week's show in preparation for tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. It's really, really good. If you're new here for Easy 8, we're not a tutorial channel by any stretch. We're just a painting club, as the name would suggest. So if you've got some stuff that you wanted to get done with the company, live here from the UK, or if you want to join in with these guys over here, or even if you just enjoy watching back later on retrospectively, then this is the show for you. So if you want to get involved in the chat over here, if you want to talk about your celebrations, any victories you've had recently, or any failures that you kind of want to talk about or learn how to improve, I'm not necessarily the person to teach you. Maybe I am, maybe these guys over here are as well, or maybe there's some people out there that can help you out as well. We're not just here on YouTube, we're also on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on Discord as well, and you can join us on Discord at the end of the show. We call it the Easy 8 After Party, and if you wanted to come and join me live on a video with the others, and then you come and join me on Discord at the end, and the link to that is all down there in the description of this video. If you do like what we do, please consider liking, following us, and or following me. Really, there's no us. I mean, it's just kind of me here, really sat lonely in a room. You can like me, you can follow me, you can share, but if you wouldn't mind, if you could subscribing to the show helps me make this show grow bigger and better all the time. And we've recently had an influx of subscribers, so if you're new to the show recently, welcome along to Easy 8. I hope you have a great time here. Please do get involved in sending me photos of all the stuff that you're doing, talking over here in the live chat, or just generally chatting to me on Facebook and in the comments down there. I read everything, and it's great to hear from you guys. So yeah, that's kind of it for the intro. I have had some more components for my PC recently. Had a new power supply unit. I was talking to Kez recently, who has been helping me build the computer, and she recently brought around a new power supply because we think that this camera here hasn't been behaving ever, so built the new computer. The new computer worked okay in some areas and not in others, so a new power supply was bought by Kez, so I now have to pay Kez. And that power supply seems to be working, which is really, really good. However, during a little test yesterday, just seeing how everything was, this camera here started to malfunction in a totally different way. I don't know, man. I just don't know. It started to do something very, very different, and it's not doing it today. So I wonder if it was just a dodgy connection, if it was just the fact that it was a Thursday. But touch wood, it's not doing it today, and I hope that it doesn't deteriorate as the show goes on. If it does, I apologise. I have literally spent thousands of pounds trying to solve that problem. Anyway, that's that camera. Let's move on from that. I have a new power supply. It's brilliant. Thank you very much, Kez. We've got Jeff, oi oi, and we've got staff. Evening all. Hi guys. Thanks for coming along to the show. Hopefully a few more will join shortly. If you are working on a project this evening, I genuinely would love to know what it is. So if you fancy talking about it, pop it over there in the live chat. Tell me what it is that you're working on, painting. Maybe you're building something, or maybe you're just chilling out. That's cool. If you want to watch the show, I'm kind of flattered, actually. Thanks very much. What I've been doing this week is I have finished off the stuff from last week. So I've been painting my little Martian robot, which we'll have a look at closer in a minute. If you remember last week, what I was doing was I was blocking in all the silver for the metal work that's going to be on it. Wanted to make it look like it had coloured bits of armour bolted onto just a plain metallic frame, and it stopped it from looking so toyish, made it look more realistic, and it just generally added a lot more to it. There's a greater dimension to the model itself. And what I want to get onto today is weathering, but I wasn't going to start that until I'd finished all the the dulling down of that silver. So during the week, what I've done is I've made sure that I finished all the blocking off of that silver, and then I've gone in with a 50-50 mix of Basilicanum Grey, which is one of the Citadel's contrast colours. This is probably my favourite one for its application. And I mixed that with 50-50 water, and I basically just tried to not be so haphazard with it, but just kind of slapped it on all over that metalwork. When I say I haven't tried to slap it on, or not so haphazardly, is I tried to stop it pooling up too much because it looks a bit odd, but it just adds such an extra level of dimension to that silver. Like I've said previously, I wanted to do anything larger than infantry models with the truer metal colours from Vallejo, which they are it is a fantastic paint. It actually looks like brushed steel or brushed aluminium, depending on which one you buy. But I had already started painting this model in the oranges, and I didn't want to kind of undo all that work. So what I'm going to do in the future is I'm going to have another go, because I've got 4 of these robots, and I'm going to do another one, spray it all silver, and then I'm going to block in the colours by hand with orange, because trying to do it with an airbrush would be very difficult, and just see how the 2 different silvers work. Because, you know, even though this is I've been playing with and hoping to use the more traditional, sorry, not traditional, the more realistic looking silver, is that I'm hoping that that one looks good and I get to use it, but it might be that the standard traditional silvers look better. Who knows? That's kind of what the experiment is all about. What I have done is I've also gone to the trouble of putting just a few little transfers on there, not gone crazy with it, just 4 little ones to make it look like it's got some sort of information or kind of markings and things on there. And I have left a little space big enough to put an army badge on it. Army badges aren't supplied for any of the any of these armies other than Mars, and I don't paint Mars because I want to do something a little bit different, a little bit out there. And they don't do those markings anymore, and they're really hard to paint by hand, and I don't want to do that. So I've been looking and looking all over the internet to find this called Riser is the name of the army that I paint, and I've been looking everywhere for Riser transfers, because they did do them for a while, they just don't do them anymore. And I've not been lucky to find any. However, a little search on Reddit, and I don't like Reddit. You go deep into the internet on Reddit. I don't like it, but I did find a gentleman who has gone to the trouble of making them, and like just kind of getting all of the right markings, or all the different armies, putting them on a page which you would print off yourself onto water slide transfer paper. I've tried to do my own water slide transfers a long time ago with very little success. I don't know if I was ever doing it right, and I'm trying to communicate with that guy to see if he would print them for me. Because that might be the only way I'll ever get those markings. I have said in the past, especially when it comes to my infantry, that if I can't get them, I just won't use them. It's a shame, but you know, who needs it? But it would be cool. It would look pretty good on the side of this guy here if I could get it. Doesn't matter if I don't, but I got the space to be able to put it on there. I can see that a couple of comments going on. Jeff says, I've had a day off. I've had a day of it. Oh, okay. So I'm working on a vodka. Oh, well, I hope that you're okay and that it's not too bad. My phone is doing things on its own. Let's make sure that it's not doing that. I was reading from my script there and it's decided to change. So let's go. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Yeah, working on a vodka. Yeah, fair enough. I hope not too bad. Stafford says, no project tonight. Wife has the COVID, so I'm evicted from the bedroom where my paint station is. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, that's sad, because tomorrow, and we're going to talk about this later on, but the Easy 8 road trip, we're going out, and Staff was one of those people that was going to come with us. Are you able to go with us still? Have you been evicted so that you don't catch it? Are you still able to travel? Yeah, I'm all boosted in jabs, so I'm okay, man, but yeah, let us know how you're doing. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go over to the workbench and have a little look at this guy here. Here we go. So here is the robot himself. As you can see, got a couple of little markings. He's got like a little looks like a little hazard warning symbol thingy, whatever. See if I can bring the auto focus in. But it's actually got like a little icon in there. Stafford says, I am not infected. Yeah, brilliant. Thank goodness for that. So you're still good to go then, yeah? Cool. Jeff says, but tanks, because I believe Jeff is also going. Of course he is. He's my dad's got to go, right? Little number 3 here. Don't know why 3. Just looked like a nice number. On the back, little icon, sigil thing. And then there's some text that I thought looked kind of cool if I put it along here. That I don't know if it is actually a word, if it's just icons, or if it's letters with numbers in there. It's really hard to see. Will it focus? Come on now, focus. Focus. There it is. It just looked cool, so I stuck it on there. Like I say, didn't want to go too mental. I do need to paint the little icon on the back, so the cog and the skull. And he's also got one on his hand there as well. Not on the other side. painted the little eagle in silver. I might make that a little bit brighter as time goes on, but that's in there now. And that's all the icons he's got. I really like the fact that it's kind of very timid on that. As you can see, that I've also been around and neatened up a lot of the silver, made sure that where I'd kind of made some mistakes, that I tidied it all up, and I did a pretty good job of that as well. And all that silver is now all blocked in, and I think it's looking really good. And it was quite bright and toyish, but I knew that with adding this basilicanum grey and water mix, that it would do a really good job in sort of taming that down. I've done it all over on the gun as well. I've kept his head black. Don't want to do that metal, but I might do like metal scratches and things on it later on. And I don't know if the lights really pick it up all that well, but in his eyes, or in that viewport, if you want to call it that, it's actually a dark green. And I'm going to build that up, so there's a good dark green base in there. And then I'm going to start making it look like it's a glass screen with like old school like oscillation effects and things to, I don't know, just make it look like, you know, the old science fiction things. So yeah, that's the plan there. What I'm going to do first though is give him a bit of a varnishing, because I want to make sure that these little numbers here are all sealed, that all the paintwork's all sealed before I start going in and weathering. I wanted to get the little markings down first, because any weathering I wanted to do, I wanted to go over the markings on there. I can see that Staff has just mentioned about googly eyes. You're not the first person to have said that. I think it would look cool, but I want them to look quite serious. You wouldn't be able to take them seriously before I destroy you with them. They are really good on the table as well. Staff says, I will test in the morning. If positive, I will bail and let you all know. Okay, yep, cool. Jeff says, I think it says Mars something 35. You might actually be right there. Mars M35. M being Millennium 35, so he's come from the Millennium, the 35th Millennium or something. Yeah, that's right. Jeff, check you out with the good eyes. You should put googly eyes on, and chipping would look good. You talk about just chipping on the black of the head. So what I'm going to do with all the orange, and I will do it with the red as well, and I'm going to practice. I'll start probably like on one of these sort of peck areas, is I was just going to start doing some light orange chips to make it look like it's going through into a primer or an undercoat. And then like for deeper scratches, I'll go through that colour again, and I'll cut in with some brown to make it look like that it's kind of rusted or corroded in some way. And then I can go even deeper again on some of them by going into the metal, so I'll go into the silver. So I'll actually have like 3 colours of chipping, so going through the top layer, going through into a bright orange, going through that into rust, going through that into silver. And when it comes to the head, I'll just do like silver and maybe a little bit of rust on there. And again with the red here, I can do like some slightly lighter red, go through into rust, go through and into metal. And it's something that I haven't done before, is that level of chipping and weathering. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I've got at my disposal quite an army of resources, and I'm going to give them all a good go. Chipping around all the edges of the armor. Yeah, and I was going to do my, not too crazy. I don't want him to be too grim dark, though I think he will look very good in that. If he does look really cool, then I will go bonkers with it. But I was going to do like streaking and things like that as well. But first of all, I wanted to do chipping, etc. So what I've got for this, the standard colour that I paint all of these guys in is hot orange. That is a colour from Vallejo. Don't know why I'm showing you the words hot orange, like you need to see that, hot orange. And what I'm going to do like undercoat colours with is orange fire, which as you can see it's a fair bit brighter, so I think that'll be a good colour to start with. Need to give that a good old shake. What I have got, one of the things that I wanted to get into is using a sponge. I'm not going to use this whole massive piece. I'm actually just going to cut off like just a tiny corner of it, use a pair of tweezers, dip it into a small amount of paint, dab it off a lot onto a piece of paper, and so almost like a dry brush, removing most of that sort of paint, and then just gently applying it into onto the colour areas that I want to make weathered. And then I can use the same sort of effect, even smaller, going into brown, and then I can use like a paintbrush to do finer details of brown, finer details of silver, etc. I see it a lot. It is one of the most popular forms of chipping, and it takes patience, and I want to develop that, so it's a great way to go, I think. Stafford says incense burn marks. That's a not bad idea. Where would the incense come out of them, and how would I do that? I like that. That is a good idea. These guys don't have anywhere on them that necessarily have incense. He's got like engine ports. That could be it, I suppose. I have thought about putting oil marks and stuff on them. I've got some weathering stuff for that. If I look back at one of the actual infantry guys, you can see that on their backs they've got little sensors where it's supposed to come out, and there's like a hose that's attached to his backpack, and I suppose that kind of just like, you know, feeds a flow of incense out of it, and as he walks around it kind of waggles around, I suppose, and blows incense everywhere. Yeah, but these guys don't seem to have that. Maybe they do. Anyway, cool. First things first, let's get some varnish on him. So I'm going to need some matte varnish. I've always struggled with varnish in the airbrush because it is so resinous. It goes really fast for a start. It covers well, but it really clogs up inside my airbrush, and I've just had to unclog it before the show started. But I've started putting thinner in there, and that seems to be a good thing to do. So yeah, this doesn't need shaking because it is literally just varnish. So I'm going to start by putting, I'm going to put about 5 or 6 drops in here. 4, 5, 6, and I'm just going to give him a really good coating. I still got the slight sniffle, so if you hear me go, I'm really sorry. It's a bit gross, isn't it? I've almost completely recovered from my illness of a few weeks ago. I'm fairly certain it was COVID, but I wasn't testing positive. It really hit me quite hard. I'm going to put 2 drops in there. Let's do a 30% mix. My mixing brush. I'm just going to give that a good old mix around in the hopper in there. When I first read your incense burn marks, I thought it said incense bum marks. Because I'm a child. Right. Here he is. He has already had a good volley of varnish over him, but this will just kind of make sure that I get all those areas. I was thorough the last time, but I've since done the icons. I also quite like the terracotta base that I've given them there. I originally thought that the terracotta was too close a colour to the orange, but I'm starting to really like it. You won't necessarily see the terracotta on the top there, but on the border, it's quite nice. I do like terracotta as a colour. Gone a little bit heavy on that icon there, but that'll dry. And I think we're pretty much good. Almost empty in there. That's how quickly that stuff goes. I'm going to put a little bit of neat cleaner in there. If ever I'm using varnish in my airbrush, I always put neat cleaner through, because it's such a tough substance. A little bit of water on the end of the brush is good, and then flush that through. clean it into the needle. And then purge. There we go, lovely. What I'll do is I'll just blow some air over the model himself, just to help speed up that drying, especially where I went quite heavy. But what I'm going to be careful of is, as I'm spraying air onto it, I'm not getting too close to that big blob here, because it will push it around, but it's already starting to dry, and you'll get ripples in it, and I don't want that because it will dry with ripples in it. Stuff says around the feet where they burn the incense for the activation ceremony. Is that something that they do? That sounds cool. Definitely burn, not bum marks. You could add some brass and other metal colours or other colour metals to the weapons to match the soldiers, strap work, nuts and bolts, etc. Yeah, I was considering how I was going to put brass or gold colours and things on there, because it looks good on all the other models, and the other model that I've been using as a a guide, as a framework, painted by my friend, you can see that there are little bits of brass and things in there. Brass, that was very posh of me. There's a little brass bit there, brass bits there, and obviously the bullets have got brass bits going on them as well. But yeah, I don't know, would it look good as the whole muzzle being painted gold? Because these guys have got all of their muzzles painted gold. It looks quite good. So yeah, I was going to paint. Can you see all the pipes in here? The big tubes. I was going to paint those brass as well. Yeah, food for thought. Okie dokie. Right. Well, while he's just drying on the side there, let's get rid of that page. Like I said, still a bit croaky. My apologies. Okay, so other things I've got for weathering today then. Weathering pencils from AK Interactive. I got these because I absolutely adore the weathering products that come from this company. I use a lot of their enamel stuff. If you see me do the historic tanks, this is great. I've had no luck using these, unfortunately. I don't know, am I pressing hard enough? I don't know. The idea is that you're supposed to be able to use any of these colours, use the pencil, get it down where you want to, and then because it's essentially an acrylic paint in the pencil, you can then get a watered brush and use that to feather it in. Gonna give them another shot because, well, I've got them, right? So let's give it a go. And it's all the right colours as well, so that heavy rust and things is what I'm really looking for. Cool. And of course, if it's like orangey rust, it's not going to show up so well on this because, well, you know, orange. Looks like an ammo box on the side of the main gun with a strap, says Jeff. Ah, yes. Cool. Yeah, so I could do like the little boxy strap container cage thing in gold. That's a really good idea, that is. Yep, I like that. Not a bad shout. Good idea. Those decals have really set in now. That's really good. This one here's gone away completely. This one here shows up a little bit still. This one's gone completely. This one's gone completely. What I mean by gone completely is the shininess or the effect of the bit of plastic or paper that they are made on. You can still kind of make it out on this one here, but I'll give them another go with varnish later on. To get rid of that and to stop them looking so they're standing proud off of the model, I use a combination of these chemicals. So Microsol and Microset by Microscale Industries. I recommend these to any modeler. They are fantastic in any genre of model making. If you're going to put decals on your models, prepare the area that you're going to put them on. Put a little bit of layer of gloss varnish on there because it's easier to put them on. Put a little dollop of this on it. It's like water, but it smells like really cheap and strong salt and vinegar crisps. Put a little dot of that on there. Put your water slide transfer onto that. Let it kind of get it in position, let it dry, and then just add a drop of this to it. Every time it dries, add another drop, and just keep doing that until you get bored. What this does is it helps soften that decal down and helps it conform to the shapes underneath it. And I've done it on some really, like, even on Zimmerit, on like Tiger tanks and things. and it really does, with a little bit of persuasion from a gentle persuasion from a brush, you can get it to conform to all the sort of lumps and bumps underneath it. And this one will help, once it's all kind of set in place, this one will help kind of almost like dissolve the layers of it, so that it makes it thinner and thinner and thinner. And if you're too aggressive with that, it will actually melt it entirely. It will disintegrate it. Some of them actually, like one of them here, is actually used for removing decals. Decal remover, here you go, at the bottom of the blue one. So they are solvents against the material that decals are made on. And the idea with them is that once they're kind of set and in place, that they never come off, is that because they're sort of melted down, is that they don't stand proud off the model. So when you kind of doing painting or anything, you can't see a little line where they're sat there. Blabber a little bit, but hopefully you understand what I mean. I am very croaky. Okay, I am ready to crack on. So, first things first, hot orange fire, that's what we want. Let's get some orange fire. Give it a good old shake. I've not used this one before, apart from last week where I accidentally started shaking it instead of the silver, because I'm stupid. Okay, here we go. Gonna give it a good old stir, a waz on the Easy 8 Wazomatic. Wazomatic! You're welcome. I need like a sound effect that comes on over the top, echoey in the background. Wazomatic! Use the waz! Use the waz loop. Just waz it. There we go, that should be more than enough, right? Gonna give it a good old splooge in the palette on the side here. Still using a dry palette at this stage. It's a very runny one, it's very watery, very thin in terms of its pigment strength, but I expect that from oranges at the moment. Gonna get a piece of this sponge here, and I'm gonna just cut off a corner. I'm gonna go crazy. I don't actually have any scissors, so I will use this knife. I could just pull a piece off, I suppose, but I feel like being precise. That's probably huge. I'm just going to use like the end of it, like the edge of it or something, and just, yeah. Let's have a go. I'm just excited to have a go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get that piece of paper again, and I'm going to use that to dab onto, have a little practice, and just kind of remove the amount of paint that's on there as well. I see everyone doing this with tweezers. I don't actually have a decent set of like precision tweezers. Maybe I'll get some someday. But I just got some good old fashioned. These are older than me actually. These belong to you, Dad. I've had them for as long as I can remember. I remember using them when I was a kid. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in, maybe on this little flattish edge here, use the corners, use the edge, use the flat side there as well. What I'm going to do, dip that in the paint, make sure I've got a bit of surface on there, and then I'm just going to remove most of it. Might be a bit easier just to use my fingers for now. Now what I'm concerned about is that this paint is too watery, and that when I dab it on, it doesn't go on opaque enough. Yeah, it was mine long ago. Thanks. Use the waz. I missed it. Did he waz? He did. He definitely did. Just ridiculous, isn't it? Well, I might have gone a bit too far with removing that. Let's go, just get a bit more back on there. Okay. Well, let's give this a go. I'm going to bring my lights in a little bit closer. Let's see what happens. So I'm just going to work on this side of the chest where the number 3 is, and I'm just going to... Looks more like rusty patina than anything, which is okay, I suppose. I'm going to get a bit more paint on there. Let's start again. Because it's so watery, it's okay. If I keep on dabbing, all I'm going to do in the end is just going to make a really bright spot, aren't I? So I don't know if this is going to work the way that I want it to. I mean, that does serve me right for using like airbrush paints. Okay, you can see that where I've used the corner of that, it's kind of gone on and made quite an opaque mark there. So what I might have to do is use a paintbrush basically, and just do it the slow and painful way. That is fine. Okay, cool. Lesson learned. I think that paint is just too watery, and that's most likely because it is an airbrush paint. Okay, let's get rid of that piece of paper. Let's come back in with a brush. I'm going to come in with my number 1. It's my number 0. I removed the barcode off of it, and it's too tacky. You've gone too far. Okay. Let's all I'm going to do is just do lots of dots. When I say lots of dots, I mean not like loads. I'm going to try and make them not look too much like I've just left dots on him. And I don't mind it being quite a wide area that these blobs of orange go like fall into, because I'm going to fill them with brown as well. So these ones are going to be quite big weathering chips, I suppose. Don't really know how this sort of pattern would really be on him. Lots of bullet marks I'd expect. Let's get a little bit on the 3 there. Quite keen to weather through that number a little bit. I'm going to go back over all of those areas just to solidify that colour. If this orange isn't going to work at this stage, I'm quite keen to just kind of walk away from it and go straight into the brown, which will show up. So what I'm going to do now is I'll do like an edge all the way down here. I was hoping the orange would be brighter against this one, but pigment strength, man. Gonna need some more. I've gone through that pretty quickly. This is a process that I'm aware is going to take a long time as well. Like, obviously I want to try and get it done as quick as I can, but it's not going to be a speedy process. Like, I am aware of that. Trying to not be too timid with it, and I can try not to hold back, because I think it would just benefit from me being a little bit on the bolder side, really. And as I'm leaning into it a little bit more aggressively, or just a little bit more confidently, I seem to be getting a bit more opaqueness, because obviously I'm not holding back, but I am maintaining self-control. I'm not going bonkers with it. Actually getting some of the coloration that I was looking forward to seeing here. Try and make it look random as well. That's the tricky thing. Adding a little bit of texture to it as well, which I'm not really fussed about. I think that will add to it, if anything. How's that looking? Quite hard to see on the camera there, isn't it? Because it's quite shiny and the orange bleeds out. If you are struggling to see that, sorry, but we will be moving into brown very soon. Oh, got a live one. Keep my brush rinsed out thoroughly through the whole process. Now I'm just going to come in with a little bit of air from the airbrush and just assist that drying. I'd prefer if there was no texture on there, because I suppose as paint chips, it doesn't get thicker. It's a learning curve, right? Looks good already, just from having some variation on there. But like I say, if the brighter orange doesn't work, I'll go straight into orange and straight into brown and not look back. Cool. Looks good though. Right, let's go straight into some charred brown. Oh, itchy ear. That's better. Smart, like it. Always good finding a new technique. Take your time and enjoy it. Yeah, that's the takeaway here, isn't it? It's just to not rush it and just have a go. what I think I will do just generally is I'll get like the brush versions of both of these oranges rather than just trying to use airbrush paints all the time, because they're so weak pigment. If I'm trying to use them by brush, well, we all saw the mistake that I made using, you know, spraying those infantry silver and then trying to paint over those 9 coats in, and I was still not even 50% covered, and it was just layer upon layer upon layer upon paint. So yeah, I need to be able to have a brush version of those, I think. So here we go, going back to the Waz-O-Matic. Gonna give it a Waz. You're welcome. Please wait while we Waz. My studio lights are dancing to the vibrations of the Waz-O-Matic. There we go. Cool. Charred brown's one of my favourite browns. It's good for mud, it's good for rust, it's good for brown. What I'm going to do, I might just do that edging bit with brush, and then I'll come back in with a sponge. You give that a try. Let's do that. It's a thicker paint, much thicker. This I'm going to go a little bit steady at first because I could ruin the whole effect. Take it nice and easy. What I'm trying to do to keep it random but also trying to hit a not random place is follow this line down, and as I'm applying it I'm just kind of, you know, going off piece a little bit occasionally. So I'm just kind of dabbing and occasionally, you know, using a proper brush stroke, if you like, sort of neaten it up and flatten out the dabbing thing. But as you can see, I've kind of left like little flicky out marks occasionally, and that's kind of that random that I'm really looking for. I think I can go in a bit heavier. Problem is, this is quite shiny under the studio lights, and it's quite hard to see where I've been. That's alright. I don't want like crazy here, do I? I think I should try and get in the collar a little bit more. Yeah, that's good, like that. Not too much though. That's good. Do you want to be doing the whole sort of edge? I want to do like around that bit there, like quite heavy, seems to be an appropriate measure, I think. And then I'll go quite a bit lighter down this bit, so a bit more patchier perhaps. I'll bring it in a little bit here and there. Maybe I'll go a little bit heavier just here. I think that looks really good. This paint is quite a bit thicker than that orange, so I'm actually going to add just a drop of water to my bristles, just so that the paint goes on a little bit smoother. I go too smooth, or too watery rather, I will end up with the same problems I've got with the orange, but I have got the the ability here to add more paint to thicken that up. I think that's going rather well to start with, so I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get that sponge. I'm going to try that that other trick again. See what happens. Backing with the paper, because that's quite handy to have. That looks good already, actually. You can see it from a distance. It's quite nice. It's kind of coming away from it, refocusing. Where's my sponge? There it is. Make sure I get all the orange off of it. Maybe I should just cut another piece. Okay, the orange is still coming out of that. Let's get another piece. Just gonna get my knife and cut another section off. There we go. Just got these from the local craft shop. Just a bag of them. I'll remove all the cat hairs from it because, that's a good thing to do. What corner am I going to use here? I think that's a good corner to use there. So I can come in with some black surfaces if I want to, like here, or I can kind of use the corners, the edges. I can already see that that's going to bring a really nice touch to it. That's going to go on quite heavy, so just make sure that I get most of that paint off there. Here we go then. Wish real hard. Oh yeah, that's really good. I don't know if you can see that very well. That is really quite good. So just want a couple of patches that are a bit heavier than the rest. So what I do is I just try to move it around a little bit, make sure that it's getting a little bit of coverage around the whole plate, but then like in this one particular area here, I want it to be quite focused. I'm just doing some gentle dabs. Try and not hit the exact same spots again, but that's quite good, that is. Yeah. That's really, really good. Oh, I've not done that before, it's great. I don't know why I'm doing that stupid accent. I'm so sorry to anyone where that accent might try to betray. Really sorry. That's great. That is fantastic. Can you see that? Okay, is that showing up well enough? I can bring my hand in behind. It might focus a bit better. Yeah, look at that. That is incredible, isn't it? So what I'll do is I'll do like a little bit of metal along the edge to make it look like it's been worn down quite a bit, and I'll do just a couple of tiny little specks of metal in the middle of that darker patch there. Hand is at 18 from holding the tweezers. Yeah, so I'll do like a silver edge just a little bit along there, and I'll do a few little speckles of silver in here, and then like on another panel I'll do like quite a concentrated area, look like it's been quite badly affected. And like I just kind of want this sort of effect over the whole model. That looks really good, really, really good. Nice. Well happy. Cool. Well, let's get into doing some silver. Where is my silver paint? What can I do with it? it is. Get rid of the gunmetal, I don't want that. I actually want this one here. This one was wazzed a lot last week, but I will give it a wazz on the Wazamatic. Just try to get as much out of that animation as I possibly can. There we go. Shaking my diffusers loose. Right, so I'm just going to put a little drop in here. Now silver's a really intense paint, so I only want like a little drop really. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get just another piece of sponge, just a tiny piece. I'm just going to pull this bit off here, like that. It's probably better than cutting it really. I'm just going to use the tip just to try and sponge into that darker area that I was looking at a minute ago. But look how intense that is already, so yeah, just going to make sure that I get rid of all of that. Okay, here we go. Really hope that you can see that, because that has worked really well. I will take a photograph in the intermission so that you can see it. Okay, let's put the silver sponge away. Get off silver sponge. Now let's come in with a bit of silver on a brush tip. Just the smallest amount now. There, I don't want a thick layer on the bristles whatsoever. Just trying to get the bristles down to a smooth point there at the same time as removing most of the paint. And what I'm going to do now is just ever so gently just run it along the edge periodically across that rusted line. Just trying to pick out some of those areas where the silver's gone onto the chest plate there, and just trying to find like the chest plate there, and just trying to find like the largest spots of brown and just make sure that the silver sits in them a little bit. There we go. That's not a bad first attempt. I can certainly do it better. Certainly do that better. It's really good though. Wait for that focus to come in. I think that works. Subtle yet not at the same time. The only other thing that I really wanted to try out was the weathering pencils, to use the rust ones on that. So what I'll do before we go to break is I'll just get these bad boys out and just compare quickly. They might be better placed in other ways, but I've got four different rust colours, 5 different rust colours. Where is it? There it is. So I've got a darker brown there, which I'm going to give that one a go in a moment. So, if I just practice, where's a good place to practice here? Maybe just on the other breastplate here. See See, what I struggle with is actually getting it to go onto the model. But no, it's going on now. Okay, cool. So I can draw the lines on like this. You can just about see it. And then I'm supposed to weather it with a wet pen, with a wet paintbrush. So let's get some water on here, and it washes away really easily. So that is definitely going to be more of the a weathering technique, like grime, etc. in a little bit. I think I'm going to stick with this for a while. That is the first time I've got that pencil to work, so I'm pretty happy with that. But I'm going to see if I can refine this process to make it just look generally better. A little bit upset that the bright orange didn't work, but I'm not going to cry over that. Let's yeah, I'm just going to have a good old go, see what happens. Yeah, but we will take a break in just a moment. Let me put my pencils away. They look like makeup pencils. They kind of like leave marks and stuff all over the packaging. Very soft sort of acrylic pencil, but when you're like trying to scribe it onto the model, it feels like it's too hard. It's a very weird product. Definitely worth having a go there if you're interested in weathering stuff. Cool. Right, I'm gonna go back, I think, to the sponge with the brown on, and I might just try and continue that side. So rather than doing the front, I'm just going to move over the shoulder here, move down the back, and just work on that side there, I think. So I'm just going to dip him back in the brown paint. Just pad most of that off there. Get tweezers again, because the tweezers are very useful here. I've not got any hidden spots of heavy paint, because I could ruin it all, and then just gently working my way in. Some areas where it doesn't have to be all that heavy, it's just nice and subtle, right? Because I suppose you take a lot of weathering to the front when you're being shot or walking through debris and stuff. So just some gentle touches there. I'm going to do his shoulder as well. Now I'm going to come back to it. Don't ruin it while you're ahead, man. Okay. Brush up, because I'm sure it's got some silver in there. Just the slightest touch of water on the bristles, a bit of brown on the brush. This is a technique that I'm already finding really therapeutic. And normally these lengthier processes really drive me bonkers. So if I can see instant wicked results, then yeah, I'm gonna get really into this. Trying to sort of emulate what the brush does, but just trying to have a practice with the bristles and the sponge, and practicing with the brush doing it. coming in from different angles seems to help as well. If you're coming in at one angle like this, you're getting like the shape of the bristles landing, especially if you're hitting sideways. So you want to kind of come in at this sort of angle, sort of mix it up. That's something that I'm learning here. That's fun. Okay. Again, just trying to keep the back a little bit tidier than the front. So, yeah, not going too crazy there. Lovely. Maybe I can come in and sort of use those pencils and get some additional effects with that as well. But that's looking quite good. Like the silver on that. That's really, really good. Might go a little bit heavier on the silver in there in a minute, and then like add some grime over the top of it and see what sort of, you know, effect that has over that. But otherwise, looking really, really cool. In the meantime, we're going to go for a quick break. Excuse me. So if you want to go stretch your legs, go refocus your eyes, or just go get yourself another drink or something, now's the time to do it. So it'll take 10 minutes. Whatever it is that you do, you should definitely go and change your paint water. Go do it. Go on. Welcome back. I'm having a really productive time here today. I hope you guys had a good break. Hope that you stretch your legs or do whatever you need to do. Hope you changed your pain water. I didn't. It looks like orange juice. There's a lot of orange in there. I've been just kind of playing around with the pencils, having a go with those, seeing if I could kind of replicate the successes here with those. Though I'm starting to get used to those, I don't think they're places on this model, so I'm just going to focus on using paints, a little bit of brushwork, a little bit of sponge work, and I'm just at the moment playing with the two colours, the brown and the silver, and I'm not trying to do anything with the lighter orange just because the pigment is too weak. It's just not doing what I want it to do, so I'll have to get some non-airbrush paints to do what I want there. So I'm just going to take you straight back over to the workbench because I'm having a great time right now. Here we go. Of course, if you are working on something this evening, do let me know what it is because I would actually genuinely love to know. I've been working on this shoulder here, and I was trying to sort of simulate damage in a direction to rather than just make it like it's been pockmarked or sort of just worn away at the edges. I thought that actually he would be kind of scraped and bashed. He's kind of got like really big fists for smashing through walls or picking people up. So I thought actually if his fist was going like sort of this way, that this shoulder pad would be facing that way, so he'd have like a lot of scuff marks kind of going up. So that kind of made some sense to me. So if you can see here, you can see that I've started, get the reflection out of it, you can see that I've started putting some directional marks on there. So yeah, the idea is that I would eventually fill those a little bit of silver as well. But I have just run out of brown, so I'm just going to go back in for a little bit more of this. If you are working on something this evening, yeah, do tell me, do drop little messages over there in the live chat or down in the comment section below, or just take pictures and put it up on Facebook because Facebook's a good place to go and do things lately. Okay, here we go. I didn't want to go too heavy with the damage, but it does look really cool. So yeah, I'm just trying to not get too excited with it and just take it a little bit on the lighter side of it and just see what it looks like, you know. I can always go in heavier if I want to later. If I go too heavy, I can't, you know, take that back really, can I? So gotta be kind of careful there. Get just a tiny smidging of water on the tips of the bristles, just to make that paint flow a little bit smoother. If I'm doing the right thing by doing these kind of vertical lines here, might be kind of rubbish. We'll see, we'll see. There's a tendency to want to go in with a little bit of artistic flair, and I'm trying to not, so that it looks real, I suppose. And I'm going to come in again and do some sponge work on him as well, and just kind of break all those lines up a little bit with a little bit of dotting here and there, and I'll make that dotting bit heavier on the front to make it look like it's being weathered more on the front. And then all these scratches would have come in from something like unrelated. A little tiger stripey at the moment, which isn't kind of really what I was going for. Alright, do you know what? Leave it there, let's not go too far astray. Come back in with a sponge. The camera needs a quicker focus, looking blurry a lot. Yes, it does, and that is something that I'll never be able to really change. I have tried keeping him with like a fixed focus before, and it depends on what I'm doing, how big the model is, how close to the table it is, how close to the camera it is. It is tricky. It's a webcam, unfortunately. It is a bit slower on that. One of the things I'd eventually like to invest in is a really nice camera. It's going to cost a lot of money, well into the 4 figures, and yeah, it is one of those things that I can't start off and have all the gear. All the gear and no idea kind of an effect there. I do try to keep it as steady as I possibly can so that you can see. I don't think those scratches look very realistic there. If I can cover them up a little bit. Or maybe not. It's kind of cool. Oops, a bit too heavy there. So my finger to dab that down a little bit. What I'm trying to do now is just use the sponging effect just to soften up those lines that I've done, just trying to meet this edge of the sponge to basically the edge of that model. There we go. Excuse me. Okay, that's cool. A little bit of silver in there again. It's not as perfect as I want it to be right now, but it is looking really good, and I am really pleased with it. My silver is blocked up again, so I'm going to try and be careful. That's going to go everywhere. Hi Darren, I can see that Darren has joined us this evening. Nice to see you again, mate. How are you? Let's go back over some of those comments. Reckon it's very easy to go OTT with that effect. I do like it though. Staff says, yeah, that's your eyes, your old man. Yeah. You're right, it is very easy to go OTT with it. I've already noticed that. Look at that paint oozing there because it's blocked up. Rubbish. What do I do with all this flowing paint? Let's get a brush. Scoop it up. There we go. Such a messy painting in silver. Darren, you got a bit of a fan club there, mate. Right, okay, cool. Let's go back with the silver. I'm only using the very smallest part of this sponge here. It is easier to use tweezers, but the tweezers do give me hand cramp quite easily. So I'm just going to go in just the tiniest little touch of silver on the end there. I think I've possibly gone a little over the top on this shoulder pad here, but it still looks good. It's quite hard to match that. Push that down a little bit. Ooh. It's all a bit fingers and thumbs here. Quite effective. It's just gently touching that sponge against the shoulder pad there and just running it in along with all the sort of rusty lines that I've been doing. It makes it just look like it's been worn through a little bit. That's kind of cool. I like that. In danger of going too far, I think, here. What I do want to do is just find a couple of those bigger brown dots there. Just want to put the tiniest amount of silver in the middle of them. Darren Bovington, no unfortunately, but thanks! I've been banned for 12 months since the incident last time. Uh-oh. How easy is it to hotwire a tiger anyway? Not as good as this bit here. I tried to do those lines and I don't think it worked very well. I might stay away from trying to do that sort of thing in the future. But that's okay. I'll do a little bit of silver along there. Yeah, that's good. Got a bit too heavy there, so I'm just going to go in and damp brush and just kind of lift a lot of that silver out. And that actually goes into the weathering effect. Okay, that's still good though, still looks awesome. Just a bit heavier than I wanted, I think. Just if I use a damp brush and just kind of run it along there a little bit, actually help tame it all down a little. Okay. That's good. See where we're at. Wait for it to focus. It's coming. metal. Darren says, I think it was more a case of how I was rubbing them. Okay, and then down the back you can see here on the back of the shoulder and the sort of the pec bit just along here. I call it the pec bit, the back of the shoulder blade. I'm going to go in with a little bit more brown in there. I think it needs just a little bit more. Not too much. I want the back to be a little less weathered than the front. So it's almost like edge low lighting. We spend all these time trying to do like edge highlights, but actually what we should be doing is like edge low lights. A little bit out of shot here, guys, sorry. It's a really good effect. Don't mess with your technique. Okay, so just try to hone the craft a little, yeah? Let's see what we can do. I didn't take a photo actually during the intermission. I feel a bit bad now that I said I was going to and I didn't. It's like the worn effect, very much extremely effective, mate. Well done, thank you very much. I'm actually really happy with this because it's the first time I've done anything like this sort of chipping effect, really taking my time on it. I'm one of those guys that has bought chipping medium to try and get the job done in a cheating sort of fashion. Chipping medium has its place. This is a 2-switch of a small model, I think, or highly detailed model for me to really use it. I have done chipping medium. If you think back to the times when I've done Gaslands cars, that was done with chipping medium. Similar, but I think that actually this is better. So yeah, there you go. Working for me. I'm going to do across the top there. You've got the 2 plates, and I just kind of want to make like a rust effect here and a rust effect there. So I'm just going to kind of cheat and just kind of go across the 2. That's working. Work smart, not hard. Wet the brush there because it's a bit on the dry side now. Paint drying the bristles. I've got rogue bristles going crazy. A little bit of moisture in the brush should help also loosen this in there. Help for some better effects as well. Excuse me, croaky today, very coffee. Excellent. When you compare one side to the other, it's really, really nice. A couple of bits I do want to try and improve. One of them's just on the underside down here. There's a patch that's very, very clean on the underside, just beside the torso workings. And I don't think you can see it on the camera, but it's too clean and it stands out a little bit. So try to get some rust in there. There we go, just match it in a little bit with what's already there. Excellent. Cool. So that's one whole sort of armoured plate there, isn't it? We kind of got now. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And that shoulder, which is not entirely sure how I feel about the scratches. I don't think it really works very well. It does look good. It looks okay. Just think it could be better. But yeah, he's cool. I like him. It's really good. Now, if I compare my work to my very talented painter friend Dave's work. So this is edge highlighting. Just, you know, good use of colours. Light red, dark red, greens, silvers. And then if I go to what I've got here, bright colours, dulled up. Looking very industrial. It's really cool. Are you going to paint the Mechanica symbol before weathering the fist? Yes, I will. And I'm going to do some grime and oil stains on the back here as well, so I'll paint that icon there as well. So yeah, it'll all look like it's been weathered together. I just kind of wanted to get on and do the weathering today because it's just really fun, right? So, get a bit of water in the brush, a bit more brown. I'm gonna go on to this, I suppose this bottom plate here. Again, just trying to make those patterns quite random, whilst at the same time following a linear path. That linear path being the edge. Like edge lowlights, but with a rust colour. And this is a technique that I have originally seen being done on tanks. So when I've been trying to like just learn how to do, you know, realistic stuff or historic stuff, it's you know, one of those little things that I picked up from like realistic painters. And I have seen it obviously equally applied on Warhammer stuff as well. So yeah, it looks realistic, right? Give it a try if you haven't given it a go already, and if you have given it a go or you got similar or even different weathering effects, I'd be really keen on seeing them. So do feel you know, free to post pictures on Facebook if you can. I haven't actually checked on there for a while if you can. But certainly on Discord, loads of people have been putting photographs over in Discord. There's loads of channels and stuff to put things in there, different categories, stuff to talk about, stuff to look at. At the moment, I know all you can see is that that base in the way, so I'm going to try and keep that angled out of the way there. What I'm trying to do is get a nice steady edge wearing effect on the edge, just to make it look like, you know, the passing of time has just taken its toll on the edges and they become slightly corroded, and where they often get rubbed even more they just go back down to bare metal again. And then on top of that, the sponge effect is like, well, you know, he's walking through stuff or over stuff, or he's smashing holes through buildings, so he's just kind of getting, you know, worn in that way as well. But also, like, you would be taking battle damage too, right? Just gonna wet my brush here, I think. There we go. This is very reminiscent of my Tyranid work, doing armoured plates. You can see that I can cross-reference my skills here. Skills transfer. So I've been so involved in this I haven't taken a single sip of my tea all evening. I am parched. It is colder now. Also is quite important, from what I can see so far, is to make sure that when you're painting on a corner between two edges, is to not just paint on one side dominantly, is to also make sure you get some on the other, otherwise it looks a little bit bizarre. Whether that would be realistic or not, I don't know, but it just looks a little bit weird, so I'm just trying to get them on the undersides here, because it will just stops it looking a little bit rubbish, basically. I haven't studied any rust effects for this, but I know that that is something that there are a lot of people out there who do. Okay, looking pretty good. What I'm going to do now is come in with a sponge. I'm going to wash that brush out because it's getting a bit clogged up there. Excuse me. Let's get some brown on sponge. Sponge with tweezers. again, softening up the edges that I've already done with this sponge. Using the sponge technique is definitely something that I want to get better at as well. Does look very good though. I think I've probably overused that corner. So I'm going to come and use a different side now. Oh no, too heavy! Too heavy! Can I dab it away with my fingers in time? Yes, I suppose that looks okay. Okay. While I'm here and I'm working in such a small area, I'll just have a little go at doing this little chest plate here as well. Working my way around that. Just kind of dabbing it over and over in that one area to make it look like there's like one particularly worn bit. Also sort of match it in with this area where I've kind of made that mistake. And I can do a bit of extra silver work in there as well. Okay, let's get rid of that. So, back in with the brush, back in with the silver. Gonna sniff very loudly. Let me just mute my microphone. That's better. No one needs to hear that. Jeff says, now you've learned how to do this, you're going to go back over everything and start with the panther. Yes, maybe I will. I mean, I did start doing a lot of the griming effects, and the thing is that grime would go over a lot of that, I suppose. It's definitely something that I would consider going over again. Because it is good. I think I need to have a good practice at it first, so that when I come round to doing my bigger builds like the 135th Panther and the such, is that it looks good, because at the moment it's you can see very much that I'm learning here. Try and take on this little semicircle here. Just trying to make those corners, give them a bit more silver attention there. And then I'm going to just try and build up the silver on one side more. Just again to make it look even and uneven and random. I think I've gone a bit heavy in just a couple of spots with the silver. The silver is a hard one to manage. If you get a hard line of silver in there, it just looks tacky. But I think I can soften it up just by going in with a wet brush and just dragging back down towards the edge again. seems to soften up and neaten it up. I can come back in with more brown and again soften up the silver edges. Looks quite good like that. That's quite good. Let's get some more silver sponging. Has the silver clogged up that sponge? Nope. Okay, that's good. So I want that corner. We are unfortunately coming to the end of this evening, which is a shame because I am really enjoying myself. Darren's saying that don't overcook it, dude. Yeah, it is very easy to do, isn't it? Just trying to keep it nice and subtle. I do want like some patches like where it is quite silver, but yeah, it's easy to get carried away. So I'm just gonna come in here and just softly the sponge, and that seems to make all the difference. That's quite good. So where I feel I overdid it is just down in here, this little section here. If I come back in, yeah, stop trying to be clever. If I can just come back in with a little bit of brown, make sure that it's watered down, I can soften the edges of that. There we go, that's much better. That's really good. Cool, alright, let's move on to the next plate, which is this front logo chest plate here. So what I'm doing, what I think I'm picking up here, is that I'm dabbing on where I want the rust sort of to go, like this. So dabbing and then following in that line of the edge of that plate. And then because it's lots of little dabs, what I do is when the brush seems to be almost emptied of that colour, it still has a little bit left in there, is that then I kind of go back and I just sort of do standard brush strokes, just lightly over it, and it sort of blends all those little blobs together, but it keeps the blobbiness of it. So lots of little blobs. Both sides of the section. Can't just do the front plate, got to do the top part of it as well. And that is looking really good. But I do say so myself. Cool. Gonna come in and do just 2 more bits of sponge work. One will be a bit of brown again. I think that end of the sponge there is kind of dead now. I'll just pull that away, I suppose. Yeah, that's good. I'll try and find another corner of it. Actually warp and shape the sponge to how I need it to sort of conform, which is quite handy. Make sure that I've got good patches in there. Lovely. Chuck that back in there. Come back in with a bit of silver. Now I've got to try and be careful. I don't want to, like you guys are saying, I don't want to overcook the silver, because it's very easy to do. I want more of it on this side here. That's good. Just like that. That's perfect. Okay, let's get a nice little zoom on that, because I think you guys will probably appreciate that. I think I recovered this area down here quite well. But the bit that I've just done is just here. And that's really cool. To make these little details here, these little sockets of this speaker thing and then this little eagle icon, I will just go back in probably with some bright silver once it's all done, and just pick those out again, just so it stands out against all the sort of rust and burnished metals and things. It's taken a long time to get there, from this sort of front chest plate that kind of wraps around the back, doing the shoulder, and then the front. Obviously I've been learning as I go, but it is a long process, but it's a very enjoyable process, and it looks flipping awesome, frankly. So yeah, I'm going to carry on with that. Now that I'm looking at the shoulder, it doesn't look so bad. It looked a bit terrible earlier on, but it's okay. And I've just got to carry on working my way around. I'm going to try and make the front look a little bit more shot up than the rest of it. Maybe I'll do like some larger scuff bits on the knees or things, I don't really know. Maybe closer to the bottoms of the shins if it's walking through things that might get more damage. And then the backs, I'll leave it largely undamaged, and just kind of a little bit of rust here and there. What is interesting is that I'm learning this sort of this low lighting, or the edge low lighting, when normally what we would do if we're trying to do a traditional model style, we would paint a color, and as you can see here that my friend has done is he's picked out all the edge highlights. Well, what I'm doing is I'm going in originally with a really bright base color, and then I'm going in with one of the darkest colors that I can think of other than black, to then go along and do all the edging, and it looks astonishingly real. I've got a long way to go to practice it, but I'm very happy with that as a first go, which is, yeah, awesome, isn't it? What I've got to try and do, I think, once I kind of get this technique down, is I'm going to try and learn how to do like specific looking damage with it. So like bullets or scrapes or claw marks or things like dinks and dents and things. I suppose on my next one, what I could do is I could even like get my little mini drill and do like, you know, dents and craters and things like that. Otherwise, I think it's looking really, really cool. Would love to know what you guys think. Some comments going here down saying that's not really what I meant. Yeah. Thank you for all the support there. That's very kind of you. I might just carry on for a little bit on Discord. So if you are interested in coming on over, you can see me just do the last little bit. What I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this collar from here, ear to ear, all the way around, so that at least it's that front section done, and then it'll be moving on to this side of the chest. and the back, and then the shoulder, and then the collar kind of goes around the back here, and there's a little plate on the top of the gun mantle here. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into that. It's coming on a long way. I don't want it to look overly realistic, but at the same time, as I'm seeing it come together, I want it to look really, really amazing. I didn't want to grimdark them, but it might be that after this, a really fine layer of weathering grime, and then just kind of dabbed off and make it look the bee's knees. So yeah, some really fun and interesting results here. Anyway, let's come away from this place, shall we? Because it's a silly place now. What an evening, really enjoyed myself. That's completely new territory, not done anything like that before. And playing around with like rusts and things. There's lots of different ways to achieve rust effects or worn metal effects. And I've got a whole drawer filled of sort of rust colours, excuse me, and weathering products to achieve that. Right down here on the floor, I've got all sorts of weathering powders and pigments and fixes. And I thought that might be interesting to have a good play with, but I haven't even touched those because this is really satisfying and very, very easy to achieve. Like Darren was saying, it's very, very easy to overcook it. So less is more. Just build it up gentle. What I found is a bit difficult is getting a sponge with the right shape. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but you can get it. But just having the smallest amount on the sponge and then kind of going in. What I've seen pros do with tanks is that they do little chips of a particular colour, looks like a primer colour, which I've decided not to do today because my pigments weren't so strong. And then they put a dark rust dot in the middle of it to make it look like that it's gone through to the metal. It's been there for a while, that metal has tarnished over time, and then there's actually a fresh wound on the top of it that's kind of gone straight through to the metal. So there's lots of different sort of things to do, and I can't quite seem to get matching up the little dots yet. Time will tell. This is a much smaller model than some of the 1/35th models that you can get, but there's a lot of open spaces on this model, and that's why I chose it. It's been really, really good fun. Whether I get all that weather, pun not intended, but whether I get all of that done between now and the next show is another matter. Of course, I'm going to have a good go. I've got a few days off this week, which I'm looking forward to doing. So I will spend a little bit of time up here having a good crack at that as well. But tomorrow, I'm going to Bovington Tank Museum with the EZA away party, I suppose. We're going on a bit of a road trip. We've been before. The last time we all went, we all said that we'd love to go again, and we finally managed to arrange it for this weekend. So we're going tomorrow morning. We were going to go last week, but I was very poorly, and it turned out a lot of people were very poorly, so we decided not to go. And I know that there were some people out there in the community, not in the immediate circle of regular communicators, that were interested in going, and I think we're probably not let down by not going last week, but had probably were able to go last week and not this week. So to those of you, really, really sorry. That's the way that's kind of gone. But if you do want to join us tomorrow, we're going to be there all day. So we're planning to leave here early doors in the morning to get there at the opening time, which is 10 o'clock. So Bovington Tank Museum in Dorset. It's a really easy trip to go no matter what direction you're coming from. So if you do want to come along, it'll be brilliant to see you there. You won't be able to miss me. I've got an entourage. We're all going. It's going to be a whole busload of us going. So if you do go, it'll be great to see you there. If not, I'm sure we're having lots of stuff to talk about. And we can take some photographs and put it up on the Facebook page as well. In the meantime, don't forget that you can follow us not just here on YouTube, but on Facebook and Instagram and on Discord, where I'll be momentarily. And if you do like what we do, then don't forget that you should, you should definitely go like, follow, share and subscribe, because every little bit makes me feel really enthusiastic and loved, and makes me want to do more with the show. So yeah, please do that. That would be nice, and you should do it. So you definitely should. Anyway, that's enough for me. It's been the time has flown by. It's been a wonderful week. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed that as well. Don't forget, we'd love to know what it is that you're painting. So if you are working on projects even through the week, just let me know. Just drop it over on Facebook or on Discord. And until next time, you stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, and I'll see you soon. Take care now. Bye bye. All the rust looks so cool.